My boss tried to force me to sleep at the office, so I bought his debt and evicted him. I work at a boutique marketing firm for a man named Marcus. Marcus is obsessed with high-performance environments and decided that working 8 hours a day was for losers. Last Monday, he walked into the office with sleeping bags and told us we were not going home until the newest campaign launched. He called it a monk mode retreat, but it was just illegal unpaid overtime. When I told him I had a life and a home, he laughed and said my home was wherever he paid me to be. Marcus owns a luxury car but hides the fact that his business is drowning in debt. He spent our payroll on a private jet to impress investors while we ate cold pizza on the office floor. On Tuesday night, Marcus stepped out for scotch, leaving his keys and phone on his desk. The security door clicked shut behind him. I watched through the glass as he realized he was locked out in the rain. Instead of opening the door, I sat back down and continued working. He spent the entire night shivering under the building awning because the security system only resets at 8 a.m. While he was stuck outside, I used my laptop to finish a project. My grandfather had passed away recently, leaving me an inheritance of $4 million. I knew Marcus was desperate, so I had my lawyer look into his finances. Marcus had used his office and his mansion as collateral for several predatory loans that were currently for sale. I bought every cent of his debt by Wednesday morning. When Marcus finally walked in at 8 a.m., soaking wet and screaming about firing me, I handed him a folder. I told him that I was his new landlord and his primary creditor. I fired him from his own company for gross negligence and initiated immediate foreclosure on his house. Marcus is now living in his luxury car, which I am currently suing to repossess. My manager tried to fire me for not smiling, so I exposed his behavior to the entire board. I was working a double shift at a local grocery chain when a customer, let us call her Margaret, reached the front of my line. I scanned her organic produce in silence because my throat was raw from a cold and I was exhausted. Margaret slammed her hand on the belt and demanded to speak to a manager because I was being aggressive with my lack of a smile. He insisted that company policy required a cheerful disposition and demanded 50% off her entire grocery haul as compensation for her emotional distress. My manager, Mr. Henderson, came over and instead of defending me, he gave her the discount and told me to go to the back office immediately. The next morning, I received an email from Mr. Henderson. It was the most unprofessional message I had ever read. He called me a miserable failure, mocked my appearance, and told me that if I did not show up an hour early for unpaid training on customer service, I would be fired without a reference. He even included a line about how he preferred employees who were pretty enough to distract customers from the high prices. He was power-tripping and clearly felt untouchable in his small position. I knew the company had a public list of the board of directors and the chief executive officer on their corporate website for investor relations. I drafted a very polite response asking for clarification on the unpaid labor and the comments about my appearance. When I hit reply, I manually added the email addresses for the chief executive officer, the head of human resources, and the entire board of directors. I played it off as a clerical error, pretending I thought I was emailing the regional support team. The fallout was instantaneous. By noon, the regional director was at our store. Mr. Henderson was escorted out in front of everyone, including Margaret, who happened to be shopping again. The board was terrified of a harassment lawsuit and a labor board investigation. They offered me a massive settlement and a promotion to keep me quiet. Margaret was banned for life after they reviewed the footage of her screaming at me. Mr. Henderson is now blacklisted from the industry. A real estate agent tried to sell the house I live in, so I destroyed her entire career. I live in a small cottage on a prime coastal lot that has been in my family for 3 generations. I own the land outright, but the house itself is technically a modular unit I lease from a local management company. An agent named Monica showed up on my porch last Tuesday with a wealthy developer and a locksmith. Without greeting me, Monica handed me a folder and told me I had 48 hours to pack my things and leave. She claimed the entire property had been sold for $4 million and my lease was terminated effective immediately. When I told her that was impossible because I own the land, Monica stepped into my personal space and pointed a finger at my chest. She told me I was a pathetic liar who was obstructing a legal sale and she would have the police drag me out in handcuffs if I did not get out of her way. She then told the developer to ignore the crazy tenant and started describing where the new pool would go. While she was screaming at me to move so the locksmith could change my locks, a man walking a golden retriever stopped on the sidewalk. He pulled out a professional camera and began filming the entire encounter in ultra-high-definition 4K. Monica lost her mind and charged at him, screaming that he was violating her privacy and she would sue him for everything he owned. The man did not flinch. Turns out he was a famous legal YouTuber with 5 million subscribers who happened to be vacationing in my town. He uploaded the unedited footage that evening titled "Real Estate Agent Commits Blatant Fraud." The video went viral overnight. By Friday, the state licensing board had revoked Monica's license for life. The developer sued her firm for $500,000 in damages. Monica was fired and her firm went bankrupt from the bad publicity and lawsuits. I still live on my land, and Monica is currently working as a telemarketer to pay off her massive legal debts. My boss fired me the day before the servers crashed, so I destroyed his career with my watch. I was the only systems administrator for a logistics firm handling $50 million in inventory. For 2 years, I worked 60-hour weeks keeping their ancient servers alive while being denied every request for a raise. On Friday at 4:55 p.m., my manager, Garrett, called me into his office. Garrett was a middle manager who spent more on golf clubs than he did on our security budget. He sat there smiling and said, "We are eliminating your position effective immediately to increase the department profit margins." I told him that without me, the legacy database would fail within 24 hours because of a known memory leak I had to manually clear every night. Garrett laughed and said, "You are just trying to scare me into keeping you. Hand over your keys and leave." As he spoke, I tapped a button on my smartwatch. I had been recording every meeting with him for months because I knew he was shady. On Saturday morning, my phone exploded with calls from the chief executive officer. The entire system had crashed, halting all shipping and costing the company $100,000 every hour. Garrett had told them I sabotaged the servers on my way out and was demanding I be prosecuted. I agreed to meet the board of directors and the police at the office. Garrett was there, acting like a victim and screaming that I belonged in jail. I waited for him to finish his lie. Then I played the recording from my watch for the entire room. In the recording, Garrett says, "I know the system will fail, but I am firing you to claim your salary for my quarterly bonus. I will just blame the crash on you later." The chief executive officer turned white. Garrett was fired on the spot and the company sued him for the total lost revenue plus legal fees. He lost his house and is now permanently blacklisted from the industry. I started my own consulting firm and charged them triple to fix the mess. My manager stole my $10,000 commission, so I took his staff and every single client. I worked as the top sales lead for a mid-sized logistics firm for 5 years. Last quarter, I landed a contract worth $2 million. My commission was exactly $10,000. When payday arrived, my bonus was $0. I went to my manager, Greg. He sat behind his mahogany desk and smirked. Quote, "The policy changed. That money went into the Regional Growth Fund for office renovations. Be a team player," unquote. I knew he was lying. I also knew something Greg did not. The parent company had installed silent auditing software 3 months prior to track every cent because of a previous embezzlement scandal. I did not argue. I went back to my desk and filed an internal fraud report with the Corporate Compliance Office, attaching the original signed contract and my commission structure. While they investigated, I spent 2 weeks meeting with my coworkers at a bar down the street. Everyone was tired of Greg's arrogance and his habit of taking credit for our hard work. I also reached out to my 3 biggest clients. They only stayed with the firm because of my personal service. On Monday morning, the corporate auditors marched into the office. They found Greg had diverted over $50,000 in commissions into a private account over the last year. As they escorted him out in handcuffs for felony embezzlement, I handed in my resignation. I was not alone. 14 out of 16 staff members walked out with me. I had already signed a lease on an office space directly across the street. By Tuesday, we were operational. I called my clients and told them the situation. Every single high-paying account moved their business to my new firm within 48 hours. Greg's branch collapsed by the end of the month. The parent company sued him for every penny he had to recover their losses. Now, I see the for lease sign on his old office every morning from my new corner window. My $10,000 was just the deposit on his total destruction. My boss fired me for demanding overtime, so I let his company collapse on national television. I was the sole systems administrator for a logistics firm, and the owner, Garrett, hated paying me. On Friday afternoon, I presented a log of 50 hours of unpaid overtime. Garrett laughed, tore the paper into pieces, and told me I was fired for being a greedy parasite. He demanded my laptop and badge, so I handed them over and walked out. I knew the servers needed a manual script reset every 12 hours to prevent a total cache overflow, but Garrett was too arrogant to listen during training. By Saturday morning at 10 a.m., the entire company was offline. Garrett called me 12 times. When I finally answered, he was screaming. He demanded I come to the office immediately to fix the crash for free to earn my job back. I told him I was now an independent contractor and my consulting fee was $500 an hour with a 10-hour minimum paid up front. Garrett lost his mind. He told me to meet him at a coffee shop so he could give me the check. When I arrived, Garrett did not have a check. He started screaming at the top of his lungs in front of 30 people. He called me a thief and a corporate saboteur. He threatened to sue me into poverty and told the entire room I was trying to extort his business. He eventually grabbed me by my shirt collar and screamed that he would have me arrested for hacking his servers. Suddenly, a man at the next table stood up. It was a very famous legal YouTuber who specializes in corporate law. He was filming his next video and had a professional 4K camera pointed directly at us. He looked at Garrett and said, "I have every word of your confession on video. You just admitted to wage theft, wrongful termination, and you are currently committing assault." The YouTuber posted the footage that night. It got 6 million views in 2 days. The Department of Labor opened a massive investigation into Garrett. He was forced to pay 3 years of back wages to every employee. He lost his contracts and his company went bankrupt. I used my settlement money to start my own firm.